Hello, 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 and good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want you to tag someone, let them know that the Levelless and Maxine Pearl Phillips McCoy is on talking about life strategies. So tonight, it's all about life strategies. Is what strategies have you put in place for yourself? It's still January 2023 and the beginning of the year. I always say make sure that you set at least one major goal, personal and professional, for yourself. Let's first start talking about what is level less. Level less is about a change in mindset, is a shift. It's a shift in the way in which you think of strategizing your career. Is about you understanding your worth. Is about you understanding how to advocate for yourself as well as continue to succeed on your terms. That means that you have defined what success looks like for you, and you are the one who is strategizing how you're going to accomplish it. So that's what Levelless does, and that's what we are all about. We're all about helping you to understand that once you make this shift in your mind, that's where you start implementing those strategies. And from those strategies, you have an opportunity to choose the best career path that you want. You will receive the income that you desire, and you will live the lifestyle that you deserve. That's what happens when you work with us from a Levelless mindset perspective. I am so excited about the conversation tonight. It's me, you, and us together. We are going to be talking about quiet hiring. Quiet hiring. Who's heard of that before? Put in the chat box if you've heard of that term, quiet hiring. I know we've heard about what silent hire, leaving the workforce, and we've also heard about when they hire, do they put out a massive hiring or do they have a freeze? What's going on with this quiet hiring, and even what is it? And this is a new wave of how companies are backfilling some of the positions, because guess what? It's a shortage. It's an actual labor shortage. So my question to you is, where do you fit if they were to shift you to a different position or a different role or responsibilities in your current company? How would you fare? Are you ready for that? Are you prepared? So let's talk a little bit about this quiet hiring. I know when I read this article from Sherm, I read it in a couple of the other news leads, and it started talking about why do they even do quiet hiring? Why the organizations are moving toward this? Well, I will tell you that not only is a talent shortage, but also if you think of it from your perspective, if you are an employee, you have an opportunity to learn a different skill in maybe the same department or maybe even another department. So they could not only shift you internally, but they also, while they're shifting you internally, could shift you to an external department that what you normally work within. So you have an opportunity to build additional skills. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why is that important. Because if you become well-rounded and have a diverse background of skills that you can pull out of your tool belt at any given time, then I say if you stay ready, there's no need to get ready. And I always encourage the clients that I work with to always stay ready. And there's so many different ways that you can stay ready. But let's continue to talk about this quiet hiring. Again, put in the chat box if you've heard of this. I'm looking for my comments. Put in the chat box, quiet hiring, if you've heard of it. Now, the thing about this quiet hiring is that in some cases, there are no individuals in the particular industry that has the skill set in which they are looking for. Then there are more open positions than there are people that are applying for the actual position. Do you have those skills, the knowledge, and the abilities for the roles and the responsibilities in which they need to hire for? So that's something that you can think about. When I read this article, it didn't shock me, but I want you to understand that it's reported that 196,000 workers filed for unemployment, new unemployment benefits during the week ending of January the 21st. Now, it is a decrease of about 6,000 from the previous week. However, it states that the number of workers continue to claim unemployment benefits is as an average of 1.6 million total. And this is before pandemic levels. Now, there's going to be a new report that's going to be coming out on February the 3rd. So I'll look forward to having it. And I'll bring you an update once I have an opportunity to review that report. But in the meantime, it's not just hard to find talent. I want you to understand in some cases, the talent is just not there, or hiring takes so long that the business is seriously impacted. And you know that can cause a lot of revenue to be lost. And the hiring, one of the things that I read in this particular article, they talked about even hiring a scientist. Look, it took them at least 6 months to hire that person. So as you can see, the hiring process can be slower, but is it slow because HR is just not able to hire someone, or is it because of the individual or the person with that skill set is just not available, or they just cannot find them? So I don't want you to be caught in that situation. So I always say, when it comes to careers and it comes to hiring or moving from one job to another job, whether it's internally or whether externally, you be in control. I want you to think of yourself as a CEO. So think like a CEO. What would you do if you had to make a decision on hiring someone? If you had to make a decision on backfilling a position, how would you look at it? So when you start thinking like that, that's the level as mindset, because it helps you to understand what your worth is. It helps you to understand how do you advocate for yourself. And it also helps you to understand how can you succeed on your terms, not waiting on someone else to deem you as top talent, but you see yourself as top talent. So quiet hiring enables businesses to ready and be adaptable to change. So if businesses are changing, how are you changing? How are you adapting? How are you being ready for this adaptation that's taking place in the industry? Do you have your skills? Do you know your abilities? Do you know your strengths? Are you even in the right role and responsibilities now within the organization that you work within, or in even the role that you're doing? Do you understand that this is what you were born with? What you're doing are the skills and abilities that you're using is what you were actually born with. You're using them every day without even thinking about it. This is just something that you do. So I want you to also think about that this quiet hiring, when companies, if they are not able to find the workforce, which means they're going to have to look within. And when they look within internally, you want to be one of the ones that they're looking at in order to advance your skills, to move you to a particular project or another department, or if they have extensions of the companies outside of the U.S., would you be a candidate for them to give you, what we call an international assignment? So make sure that you stay ready and you keep your skills and you learn as many things as you possibly can. And therefore, you are presenting yourself to your management and to the organization that you are definitely a candidate to be moved to within the organization or even to travel externally for the organization. So why is this important for you to do that? Well, remember, I just talked about there's 4.8 million surplus of open jobs that's over the available workforce, over the available workers to end up filling that position, those positions. But you need to be in a position to fill that. And so, and what would cause some of this? Well, high turnover is one of them. And high turnover can be for several reasons. Don't find yourself as one of the ones who are high turnover because you're dissatisfied, you're unfulfilled, you're bored. This is not the right fit for you. And I'll be talking about, there's an assessment that's called the Highlands Ability Assessment that I administer online. The results are immediate. And the benefit is it helps you to understand how to navigate your career better. Not only does it help you to navigate the career better, but it also helps you to understand, how do you communicate? How do you take in information, process it? How do you prefer to be communicated to? And be observant on how others prefer to be communicated to. The other thing of it is that it helps you to understand, how do you use your everyday abilities and strengths in order to select the roles and responsibilities that complements those abilities and strengths. So it's critical and essential that you understand this about yourself. I call this a part of your core, a part of your DNA, that you need to understand who you are and dive just that deep into you. And when you understand that, then you are ready to choose and to look at roles and responsibilities, to look at the best career path that complements your everyday abilities and strengths. I cannot stress that enough. There are so many individuals out here that don't understand or have not yet identified or discovered or even confirmed what their everyday abilities are. And how can you leverage those abilities? How can you take advantage of those abilities? How do you select the position in which you're going to work with them to use those abilities? What organization can appreciate the value that you're bringing with the abilities and strengths that you have? And it is an awesome match. Their roles and responsibilities matches your abilities and strengths. That's a perfect combination right there in itself. So the quiet hiring, again, as I indicated, if companies have moved to this and organizations, they have moved to this quiet hiring. Now, we heard about what? Quiet firing. We heard about the quiet quitting. Now we're hearing about the quiet hiring. So that means that all positions are not advertised as well. And we'll talk about networking in another time. But tonight we're talking about quiet hiring. Think of it like that. I want you to think of it like that. Now, this is to provide a solution for organizations. It's to help them with the economic pressures that they're under. It's to help them to backfill or to fill open positions. And they're going to be filling them internally with the labor force that they already have. They're just going to be shifting that labor force, and they're going to be using that labor force in other roles and responsibilities. So don't say no when you have an opportunity to learn another skill. Take into consideration, this is to help you become well-rounded. It helps you to understand that you're positioning yourself to show that organization how valuable you are. But again, I come back and say, what is it that you already know about yourself? Do you know your strengths? Do you know your abilities? That's where the Highlands Ability Assessment is so essential for you to take. Not only does it help you to understand your everyday abilities, but this assessment was designed by Johnson O'Connor to look at your everyday abilities and strengths that you were born with, so that you could choose a career path that complements those abilities and strengths. I don't know of another assessment out here that does that. I know we have personalities assessments. I know we have the different team assessments. I know there are career assessments, but this is the first ability assessment that I came across when I started my business back in 2011. And I have been using this assessment ever since. Thousands of professionals have taken this assessment to help them do exactly what I'm talking about. Help them to choose the best career path that matches their everyday abilities and strengths. And when they do that, I have found that the individuals that I have been working with and other consultants, I'm a certified Highlands Ability Consultant, and other ones who have worked, help individuals to take this assessment and give them feedback. Is not only is it personalized, but you're getting feedback from a certified Highlands consultant. That means that you're not having to look at the results and then try to understand, how do I internalize this? How do I use these results? What is this? What is this actually telling me? But I help you to understand how best to use your abilities and strengths, and what role and responsibilities will complement it. What career path should you be looking at? So listen, when they talk about quiet hiring, and they're looking at, how do I shift my employees to another position or another department? But what if you already knew your strengths? What if you already knew what you're naturally gifted at doing? What if you already knew the roles and responsibilities that complements who you are from your core? When those opportunities presents itself, you're able to raise your hand and say, I would love to be able to do, and then name it. I've already look at the departments, look at the roles, look at the job openings within your organization, look at what matches what you already bring to the table. Show your value. But how are you going to do that if you're unsure of your own everyday abilities and strengths? I'm not talking about guessing at it. That's not what I'm talking about here today. I'm talking about actually knowing it without a shadow of a doubt, that these are your everyday abilities that you use. These are the strengths that you're able to bring forth and show your value. With these two, it helps you to understand that you chose the best career that you wanted, that you're receiving the income that you deserve, and that you are actually living the lifestyle that you also deserve and desire. So here you are with the ability to be able to be in control of your career. Yes, organizations need to do what organizations need to do because they must survive as well. But I want you to understand that you're surviving, but you need to move into thriving. You need to be the one that's in control. You need to help the management team understand the strengths and your abilities that you bring into the organization and the values that it has added and will continue to add. So don't ever underestimate those abilities that you were born with. Don't overlook them. Don't let it be a blind spot to you. So yes, externally, there's quiet hiring, which means that they're hiring short-term contractors or temporary workers or part-time workers. And then internally, that's where they have an opportunity to be open in their creativity. And it could be short-term deployment, but the deployment is within the organization. So they're not deploying you and firing you or letting you go, but instead they're moving you around to another department or another part of the role and responsibility. Maybe you get a chance to have rotational assignments. You could even, work on a special project like I indicated earlier, or you can work in another department totally. It's a temporary, but it's for right now, it works. It's a win-win for you, the employee, and it's a win-win for the employer. So therefore, you do not have the quiet firing going on. So let's talk about career path. How does this affect your career path? I want you to understand that there are a couple things that I look at when we start looking about career pathing. It's excellent for you, the worker. It's an opportunity for you to build your professional development. And it's also a temporary assignment where you can gain not only new skills, but it very well could lead to a long-term advancement or long-term assignment, or even It could even move into upper mobility or lateral mobility. It all depends. But what I want you to understand is that when that opportunity presents itself, say yes to it. Be ready. Be ready. If you stay ready, there's no reason to get ready. I can't help but to keep saying that. Now, when I read this article, it talked about that, yes, they're trying this out, but it could be a way of, listen, COVID has caused organizations to try new innovative ways in order to maybe not lose that knowledge, a person leaving the organization, but instead moving them to another department and allow them to use other skills and abilities. Because one of the other things I always say is when they hired you, remember, you were hired for a particular job, for a particular role and responsibilities. But guess who showed up? Guess who showed up? The whole person, which means you have other skills, you have other abilities that you may have not even shown them that you have. You may have not even had an opportunity to use them. So with this, the quiet hiring gives you an opportunity to move within another department to use some additional skills that you have. And who's to say you won't fall in love with that you're doing, what you start doing. I love it when people tell me that, I stumbled upon this job. I didn't know that I had a love for this, but instead I have it. And so I'm not amazed, because I always say, when you know who you are from your core, the sky is not the limit. So stop limiting yourself. Go for it. Soar. Allow those everyday abilities and skills to be used. I love it. So I want to talk to you about 3 areas that, when I'm talking about you moving forward with your career, you being in control of your career, I want to talk to you about creating your career. So let's talk about that for a minute. It's 2023 and it's still January, although it's January the 30th. I trust that you have written at least one personal and one professional goal for yourself. Not a resolution, but a goal. If you have not, take a moment and write that goal right now. Oh, yeah, I know you didn't know you're going to have some little homework or an assignment, but go ahead and write that goal right now. Something personal and something professional. Something personal and something professional. Let's take a minute. And if you're watching this after this night, the live show, I want you to still do the same. I want you to write that one personal goal and one professional goal. I want you to have a balance. Look at your life being balanced. We're always talking about having some downtime. Mental health is important. Being able to breathe, taking a moment for yourself. That's the personal side of you. And then you have the professional side. What is it that you're going to do differently in 2023 within the current role and responsibility that you're doing? So set a goal for yourself. Be strategic about it. And then write down what success looks like for that goal that you just set for yourself. How will you know that you've actually reached that goal? So what I've actually just to do was create this. This is under the title of creating the career. Creating your career. And with Leveless, we help you to see where it is that you see yourself going. Because you have to envision. You have to dream. You saw something in yourself, maybe even as a kid, that you wanted to do. But as an adult, life got in the way and you've not yet accomplished it. That still could be a personal goal for yourself. I want you to look at this as charting your path. Because you must be able to see where it is that you want to go. And in seeing that, then we can come up with the strategy that you're going to be using. But one of the things that I want you to understand about charting your career, it's almost impossible for you to chart that career if, first of all, you can't see where you're going. And secondly, you're not sure of who you are. You're not sure of who you are from your core, from your DNA. What is it that you have envisioned for yourself? So you have to see that. And then you have to understand your everyday abilities and strengths. But you must understand them from that core. And the way of understanding them from that core is there must be a foundation and a starting point. And that foundation and your starting point in helping you to choose the best career, it's going to be always to understand who you are. Always understand who you are and what you bring to the table. I never will forget that when I was a little girl, about the age of 11, I remember writing goals for myself on a sheet of paper. And I had a Bible that I would put them in. And then I was given a diary. Today, I call it a journal. And you can also, I have a journal on my website that you're able to purchase. But in that diary, I would write my goals. And every time I wrote those goals, I would come back and I would look at them and I would have accomplished them. I would have completed them. It was something about writing that goal down that locked in my mind. And the things that I started doing, I started working toward accomplishing that goal. So I want you to do that for yourself, because that's why I had you to write that one goal, personal, and one professional goal for yourself for 2023. So as I'm talking about these other areas, I want you to reflect back on that goal. So that was me at the age of 11 and accomplishing that goal. And you know what? You can too. You can accomplish any goal that you write for yourself, but you have to put a strategy against it. And you must understand who you are from your core and how you're going to go about completing that. But in order to do that, I want you to think of this next, as I talk about this next one, building your career, building your skills within that career. This is where I want you to tell me, what do you already know about yourself that's going to help you achieve the goal that you just wrote for yourself? What do you already know? Because you know what? The most important thing is that you know it for yourself. And let's face it, other people have already told us what we're good at, and some have told us what we're not good at. But what do you know? What do you know for yourself that you do every day with your abilities and strengths, that you know that it's you and you're good at it? You're passionate about it. It brings you fulfillment. It brings you that joy. Oh, but there's another side. What about the blind side? The things that you don't know about yourself, the things that you have yet to discover, you have yet to identify. And there's some things that you're on the borderline with that you need to confirm. That's where this assessment, the Highlands Ability Assessment, helps you to understand who you are from your core. It helps you to do that. And not only that, I say, and it has been proving with the thousands of professionals who've taken this assignment, that it is a missing link to identifying the best career path for your everyday abilities and strengths. It is definitely the missing link. The benefits and the outcome of you taking this assessment and knowing who you are and knowing about those abilities and strengths, it helps you to navigate your career journey better. I mentioned that earlier. And it also helps you to identify and understand your preferred learning and communication style. That way, you're not easily misunderstood. You're able to take in that information and process it and make the big picture out of it, or break it down and pass the information up to others. And then again, when seeking employment, oh my gracious, it helps you to select the organization that best matches your career path and the roles and responsibilities that complements your abilities and strengths. So you take the guesswork out of it. It takes the guesswork out of you trying to figure it out on your own. There's no reason for you to go into understanding who you are by yourself. You have a proven assessment that does exactly that. Not only that, it helps you to move forward. Now, what am I talking about when I say moving forward? I'm talking about this is where you have that mindset shift. This is when the mindset shift happens. This is where you start believing in yourself. You start believing in those abilities that you identified, that you discovered, or even you confirmed. You know it for yourself. And this is where you choose the best career path for you. When it's not just career path, notice I said best career path for you, because that's what you want. When you choose the best career path for you, you enter into what we call the levelless mindset. This is where you have discovered and you have identified what success looks like for you. And when you do that, that's when you know your worth. Oh, that's when you can advocate for yourself. So no matter what room you're sitting in, no matter what table you're sitting at, no matter what questions asked of you, you're able to be an advocate for yourself. And then it helps you to continue to succeed on your, I'll put the word own terms. Do you have to climb the corporate ladder to be successful? You have to answer that for yourself. But I would tell you that when you have that levelless mindset, you throw away the levels. The levels are no longer as critical. It's about you have defined what success looks like for you. And now you're able to continue to succeed on your terms. You put that strategy in place. The Highlands Ability Assessment has helped you to understand who you are from your core. It has helped you to select the best career path for you and using your everyday abilities and strengths. It does that. It takes the guesswork out of it. So when the quiet hiring is taking place, you've already looked at what department you're interested in, what roles and responsibilities outside your current position you're interested in. You've already looked at what leaders are there, or even what leadership roles that you aspire to become and get into. You've already done that. You're thinking like a CEO because now you're in charge of your career. Career is a lifetime and life is a project. So you're in control. You have a project. And that project is so that you're living that fulfilled life. That project is that you have reached the career that you want. That project is that you're receiving the income that you desire. And the project is that you're living the lifestyle that you so deserve. But it all starts because you understand your everyday abilities and strengths. You know it for yourself. And it had give you an opportunity to move forward because you have that mindset shift that's just taken place. You are now having a leveless mindset. I love it. I absolutely love it because what it does, it helps you to reframe the way you think. You're no longer thinking that I can't do this, or they're not going to select me for that, or my performance review was not outstanding like I thought it was going to be, or I'm not receiving the promotions. I'm not, I'm in a transition position, but I'm not sure exactly where to go, what to do, and how to go about doing it. With that levelist mindset shift, remember, we just got rid of the levels. You defined what success looks like for you. And now you have put a strategy in place because you saw and you see and you created your career path. You understand your strengths. You know your everyday abilities and you know how now to use them. You now understand what are the best roles and responsibilities for you. You understand what career path that you need to look into. And now you even understand within the departments, within the organization that you work for now, how to go about positioning yourself so that you can be seen and so that you can be found and so that you maybe have a say so in that temporary assignment, that temporary deployment that's being created by the hiring. It's being created by the way in which the organizations are doing the hiring. So you don't have to worry about not being involved in the quiet hiring. You can make it known when you have your conversations with your leaders. You can make it known by doing some of the other things that you can do. So see, there's so many different things that we talk about when we work with you with the Highlands Ability Assessment, that once you understand those core everyday abilities that you have and looking at what career path, and then from that career path, how to look at some of the roles and responsibilities that you need to be looking at. I will tell you that one of the things that it does with the Highlands is to look at the personal style. And the personal style is how you communicate. Would you prefer to be communicated with? And how do you prefer to be communicated with others? And then it also helps you to understand what is the best. The driving abilities help you to understand what are the best roles and responsibilities for you. What is the best career path for you? And then we have the specialized abilities. Oh, that helps you to determine within that career path, what's going to be the best profession for you so that you can thrive, not just survive. So see, you have a way of adding to an organization no matter where you go, no matter where you go. I'm looking to see if I have any comments. I'm looking to see if I have any questions. Even once you listen to this after the live show is over, please ask your questions. Go to www.levelless, that's LEVELLESSCO.com. And that's where you can let me know, even register for the assessment so that you can get to understand what your everyday abilities are and who you are from your core. It is so critical that you get a chance to do that. So tonight, it was all about talking about quiet hiring, a new name for a revised way of doing business for organizations. We've heard about the quiet firing and the quiet leaving, but now we're hearing about quiet hiring. And it's all because listen, it's a shortage of workers. It's a shortage of workers. And there's like, 4.8 million jobs. That I'm sorry, let me make sure I'm saying that right. There's at least 1.6 million jobs available. And so in unemployment, there was a decrease, but there was like 186,000 of workers who filed for new unemployment benefits. So the workers out here, the Highlands Ability Assessment will help you to understand what are the roles and responsibilities that you should be going for. What companies will complement your abilities and strengths, and you'll be able to look at that career path and how do you bring that information forward in resumes. You got interviewing you must go through, but the companies are now looking at internal, moving employees around internally. So now you've got to get your foot through the door to become an internal employee. So let's not sit back and wait on things to happen. Let's make things happen. Position yourself. Acquire that levelist mindset. Come on over into the levelist mindset movement, and let's get you where you need to be. Let's make sure that you have, chosen the career that you want, that you receiving the income that you desire, and that you are living the lifestyle that you deserve. But it all starts with you understanding who you are from your core, understanding your everyday abilities and strengths. And this Highlands Ability Assessment is essential, and it was created exactly for that, to look at your everyday abilities and strengths so that you can choose the best career that complements those abilities and strengths. I thank you so much for this opportunity. I thank you that what I've said this evening will encourage you to register for the Highlands Ability Assessment and go to my website, www.levelistco.com. That should be running across. You see it right there at the bottom of the screen right here. Levelistco.com is where you go, and you can then find the assessments and register for the assessment. I would do it today. I would not wait. The companies are not waiting to use the quiet hiring process. They're in the midst of using it now, and you need to be able to showcase what you can do and the value that you're bringing to an organization. So don't hesitate. You can always reach out to me at Maxine@levelistco.com. Send me your questions. Put your questions even on Facebook. Let's have a conversation. But let's make sure that you're in the role and responsibilities that complements and matches your everyday abilities and strengths. I thank you so much for your time and your attention, and I trust that you will share this information with others. I trust that you will reach out. I want to hear from you. Let me know and just reach out, and let's get you started so you can register for this assessment. Let's get you where you need to be. And therefore, when they look at the quiet hiring, that you're in the midst and you already can suggest maybe a department or suggest a particular role. So don't hesitate, reach out. I'm going to bid you a good evening, but as I always say, I believe in you and I trust that you believe in yourself. So until we meet again, take care.